topics. We're talking and vibing right here on Kingdom Connection.
Kingdom Life Tabernacle, also known as KLT, is growing, and we are expanding our service opportunities with you in mind. Join us for worship at 9:45 a.m. or 11 a.m. Our 9:45 a.m. express service is only 60 minutes. Yes, you heard me right, 60 minutes. Come in and give God an hour and enjoy the remainder of your day. This service is power-packed with the word and worship. Our second service on Sunday starts at 11 a.m., where we allow God to have his way with a time of celebratory praise, deliverance, and prophetic ministry. Both services are Spirit-filled. Listen, and you will never be disappointed at the Kingdom. Lastly, you can join us for Bible study, Walking in the Word, on Thursdays at 6:30. We are conveniently located at 1140 Capitol Circle Southeast, right across from Ultimate Image next to Pop's Attic. There is no dress code and everyone is welcome. Join us on Sundays at 9:45 or 11 a.m. or Thursdays at 6:30 for a time in the Word. Also join us virtually on Facebook. This is Apostle Otis B. Young, and I'm excited about your future right now. Call 692-3205 for more information.
Thank you for tuning in to Kingdom Connections, where I am your host, Tanisha Reese, and today we have a very special guest. Today we have Mr. Mike. Mr. Mike, let the people know what your first and last name is.
My name is Michael Mitchell.
Michael Mitchell. Mr. Michael Mitchell has a great testimony that he is going to share with us today. More than one, from my understanding, so let's get into it. I am so happy that you're here today. I'm glad that you came and you're going to speak with us and give your testimony to the world. Just want to let you guys know the reason why my voice sounds like this is because I lost my voice. So this is the best I got, so we're going to flow with this, just in case you were wondering. So, Mr. Michael, tell me a little bit about yourself first. Where you're from, how old are you? Are you married? Do you have kids?
Yes, as I said before, my name is Michael Mitchell. I'm originally from Los Angeles, California, but I've been here in Tallahassee long enough to say I'm from here. I do have kids. I'm not married, and I was working for Pepsi about 3 years until I hurt my left foot. So now I'm just sitting back waiting to heal.
Okay, I understand that. So one testimony that you have, which will lead into another testimony, you are a COVID-19 survivor.
Yes, ma'am, I am.
So tell us a little bit about that experience. When did you know that you had COVID? What were the symptoms? Like every detail of what that experience was like.
Okay, that's like, it's one of the roughest experiences I had to go through, and I wouldn't wish that on nobody. It's rough, and right now I feel like a lot of people's not taking it serious as it really is, and I was one. I wasn't taking it serious at first, but until I caught it. And what happened?
Do you know how you caught it?
I kind of broke it down to like 3 different times. Either because I'm a person that doesn't go out a lot, I just go take care of my business and be back home. Okay. But the first incident, I feel it might have came from, I went out one night, which I went to Ziegler's, the pool hall.
Oh, I think it's Zingali's.
Yeah, Zingali's. That's it.
Okay.
That's it.
I think so.
And there, among a lot of people with no mask on or anything like that. The second place was my son's funeral.
Okay.
And I figure out of one of those places is where I caught it up.
Do you feel like if you would have worn your mask, that maybe you would have not caught it?
Yes.
Yeah.
I feel like that.
So when did you first realize you had COVID?
Well, see, I didn't know at first, because I was like, a lot of my friends had gotten a shot, and so I was like, I don't know, I'm gonna wait and see, what happens. If this a shot gonna turn you into a zombie or something, I was just, thinking kind of crazy. So, but what happened was, I started seeing everybody who got the shot. Nothing was happening to them.
You didn't get the shot though,
No,
right?
I didn't get the
Okay.
shot. Nah. So I said, well, I had caught it before, but it wasn't that bad. I had no symptoms. It's just that,
Really?
yeah.
So how did you know you had it before?
Because I have a son that was going to daycare, and so someone at the daycare had caught it. So then I said, well, eventually he had to get tested. So I said, I might as well get tested too while I'm there.
Okay.
So we both got tested, and we both tested positive.
Okay.
But all he had was a cough. He was running a temperature for a couple of days. And then after that, we kept giving him medicine and everything. He was well. So me, I didn't have no symptoms, So after the 10 days, I went back and got tested again, and they say I was negative.
Okay.
So that was the first time I caught it. So the second time that I caught it, like I said, I was like all my friends had the shot and everything. So when they came out with the Delta strand, I said, well, that sounds that's a little more serious. I said, so let me go and take the shot. So that's what I did. I actually went to Publix, and while I was there, I had like a day or two, I had a little cough, but I didn't think it was nothing serious.
Right.
So while I was there, I coughed a couple of times. So the young lady that came out was helping me. She came out with the needle and everything. I said, well, do y'all test, to make sure you don't have it? And she said, no, we don't really test like that. And when she said it, she stuck me at the same time while she said it.
Oh my God.
So I'm like, because,
I have heard you are not supposed to get the shot if you have it or
Right,
sick at all.
right.
Okay.
And so, and I'm like, she gave me the shot, and I was like, I was coughing, you know what I'm saying? She's like, well, you don't have nothing to worry about. She said, after a couple of days, you might develop symptoms like the flu or whatever. Depends on your body. So I was like, okay, fine. So then I went home. That night, I started feeling bad, like kind of weak, And so the next day, I was feeling real bad. And I was like, she said, no, 2 days had passed, and I started feeling real bad. And I started feeling weak, didn't want to get out of bed, didn't want to do anything. So I said, let me go back and talk to them again about it. So she said that if I'm feeling bad in a day or two, if I'm feeling worse, go to the hospital, or either, she told me to buy this little oxygen tester that you put on your finger, and it tells you your oxygen level or whatever. And she said if your oxygen level drops down to, I think she told me 70, under 70, you need to go ahead and go to the emergency room.
I'm just thinking, like, why didn't she tell you to just get tested at that time?
Mm.
Go ahead with your story.
Yes.
I'm sitting here thinking, like, why didn't she just ask you to get tested at that time? Or I thought, I could be mistaken, but I thought Publix gave COVID tests.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Because she didn't tell me whether they do it or not. She just told me that when you come in for the shot, we don't test you.
Oh, okay.
So
Wow.
I was like, okay. So then, like that, I bought the oxygen sensor, and that night, it's like where I live at, my bathroom is like maybe 6 feet away from my bed.
Okay.
So I was sitting on the edge of my bed. I was feeling real weak, but I needed to use the bathroom. And it was like a real struggle just to get to the bathroom. Like, I was like literally struggling. I had to build my strength up to get to the bathroom. So then I took the oxygen thing. Checked my oxygen. My oxygen was down like 66 or something like that. So then when I saw that, I was like, I called my daughter, and I told her, I said, I'm finna go to the emergency room. Like, I'm not feeling good. And she was like, well, you need to go. You want to wait for me to get there? And she was actually coming from Tifton. And I was like, no, because where I stay at, they just built a new little center on the corner of Orange Avenue and Capitol Circle.
Okay.
So I drove myself from the apartments. I stayed upstairs. So I had to struggle downstairs to get in my truck with my car. And then I drove to the emergency room. I recall, I thought I went inside the emergency room and I thought I talked to the people, and the people told me I had to go to the main hospital. And now in my head, I had this whole conversation,
Oh
but
my God.
it didn't happen like this. And I didn't find out till days after I was in the hospital. But from what my recollection was, I spoke to the nurse. The nurse told me I had to go to the main hospital, that they didn't have no room. And so I asked them, well, are y'all going to take me in the ambulance, or do I have to drive over there? And she was like, you have to drive over there. Now, this is what I thought actually I had a conversation.
Oh my God.
This is
Oh
what
my
went on in
God,
my head.
I just love
But
Jesus.
what actually happened was I never made it inside the emergency room. I was outside. From where they explained to me, I was outside in my car, knocked out.
Wow.
If it wasn't for my daughter coming when she came, she got there. And then she told me that she went inside, tried to get them to help me, but they wouldn't come out. She said that this old couple was going in. This old lady was taking her husband to the emergency room. Say, her and the old lady helped me out the car into a wheelchair.
God.
And once
This is a horror story.
I got in that wheelchair, they rushed me in, and they said they took me straight to the ventilation machine. And, you know, once I was on the ventilation machine, they said that I was in a coma. And say I stayed in the coma. I don't know how many days at first, because they said that they woke me up out of the coma. This is something I didn't know all had happened. I found out this later on, you know. And they said, woke me up out of the coma. Say, I had so many tubes in my body, I didn't know what was going on. They say I started pulling the tubes out.
Oh my God.
So they said they had to put me back in the coma. So then I knew when I went back in the coma, they said I was in the coma for 7 days. And they said, like, they basically was telling my daughter, because one thing they did let them do, they didn't let them inside, but they let them do the Zoom, where they had the camera on me and they could, you know, talk to me.
Okay.
Because they said that I could hear them and all.
While in a coma, yeah.
So they say they talked to me every day. You know, people were calling and praying, you know. And so what happened was, they said that the nurses had told my daughter them that, you know, hey, we tried to wake him back up. We can't wake him up. You know, basically, and like they said,
they couldn't wake you up out of the medically induced coma they put you in?
Yeah, they say they was, like the lady, like my daughter said, they showed them on the video where they were like tapping me on the head, just, you know what I'm saying? And they said that after that, they told them, say, it's not looking good.
But what about your vital signs and everything like that?
See, I don't know. I didn't really ask them about it, you know what I'm saying? Because for one, they didn't want to tell me what had actually was happening or whatever. I mean, when I was going, it's like a whole nother world that I went through. It's like a whole different scenery. The whole thing was kind of crazy, like from
Let
my
me ask you a
recollection
question.
of
This
things that happened.
may sound really weird, but I know you don't know what happened until you woke up. But did you have any kind of experience while in a coma? Okay, tell me
That's
about
why
that.
I
I really
said
want
it
to
was
hear
like-
it. I really want to hear it.
Some things I'll tell you about, some things I won't tell you.
Okay.
You know, because it's
Well, the things that you won't tell me about it, why won't you tell me about it?
people want to know, like, the main thing, is there heaven or hell? Yes, it is. Is there judgment? Yes, it is.
Tell me about it. That might be something that they need to hear. How about this? Let's start with the things that you can tell me. Tell me that. And then we'll
Like,
get to the nitty gritty.
The whole thing, I mean, it's, even when I think about it and I talk about it, it's crazy to me. It's real crazy. But I thought these things, I thought I mean, really, really happened. So I was scared. I was so scared. I wouldn't go to sleep. You know what I'm saying? Was like the least little thing I was checking. You know, when they moved me out the hospital, they took me to,
This is what you saw while in a coma?
yeah,
Okay.
like it's like they kept moving me. Like I felt like I went to like different hospitals. Like one hospital I was in, I was like, I thought this, I'm telling you, I really thought this stuff happened.
Okay.
It was like, I went to, I think it was, I say, TMH. They transferred me for some reason from TMH to Panama City. But the two nurses that they had transported me, it was like they took me in this room and they left me. You know what I'm saying? But they didn't hook my oxygen up. So it's like I was laying there with no oxygen. Couldn't breathe. I was finna die. And like I was calling, you know what I'm saying? Like trying to get somebody's attention. And I didn't have no voice. Nobody could hear me. And it was like, this room was like down the hall away from everybody. And as I was calling, just so happened, my daughter and a friend of ours was asking them, where was I? Because they knew they just transported me. And everybody was kind of looking crazy. So my daughter, I seen these two nurses start walking by, another two nurses. And at the time, I grabbed on to the what you call it?
Is it the thing that holds your IV?
Yeah. I grabbed onto that and was able to knock it down. And so it got one of the nurses' attention. So when they came in, they was like, Mr. Mitchell, you're not hooked to oxygen. Where's your oxygen? What's that? You know what I'm saying? And I was trying to explain it to two nurses. They trying to kill me. They trying to kill me. You know, this is something I thought actually really happened. So then I left there. They took me from there. I mean, it's going to sound crazy. It gets crazy.
I'm here for it.
Then all of a sudden, it's like they were transporting me here to Tallahassee. But I was on a prison bus with women.
I'm sorry.
I'm telling you,
Oh my goodness.
It's crazy. The whole thing, I mean, it's like, it's crazy. You know what I'm saying? I went through like you know how you see movies and they have different scenery, different scenes. It's like I went through different scenery, different parts. You know, cause it was like the first thing that started off, like the young lady that I was dating at the time, it was like we went where it first started with my daughter. We went to the school on Lake Bradford. They had some kind of carnival there. And like the carnival had some kind of like little underground tent like.
Okay.
And like you go in there and they blindfold you and you gotta like find your way out. You gotta grab this balloon and bust the balloon, and the balloon has to have a number that they calling out. And that's how you get out the plate, but you gotta be able to walk up the stairs, you know. It was, like I said, it was crazy.
That sounds like it's getting a little scary.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So I couldn't make it, for some reason I couldn't make it out of the plate, me and my daughter. And it was like, when they finally came and got us, like we was dead. But so everybody was like, got scared and left us there. But somehow we got out. And so my daughter, I couldn't really move because my foot was messed up, so I couldn't really get around. So she went to get help. Then all of a sudden, I'm somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? It was like scene after scene after scene. And then, I mean, like I said, it gets...
Well, let's get there. I'm interested now. You can't stop now.
Let's
get there.
Like, okay, like this thing. Now, the biggest, well, one of the biggest things that... Part of the thing that had me scared was, and I promise you, it's crazy. But it's like, what happened was, it's like I said, I was dating this young lady. And she had a house like outside of Tallahassee, City, Atlanta. She had 2 kids. They were twins and a daughter. And then somehow, I don't know where it come from or what, but somehow, like I said about the place me and my daughter was underground, they had the same thing in Panama City. So when me and her went to Panama City, what they called it, golfing or something like that. But what it is, it's supposed to be like this, this like balloon like tent, but underground. You go in and they have this some kind of stuff they have in the events or whatever, and you're supposed to be able to go get through it, and like I said, bust the balloon, get the number, and come out. So me and her went in there, and she got out, but I was still there, still in there.
This is the second time.
Yeah, this is the second time in
You
Panama
were still
City.
there.
And it was ran by these Jamaicans. So, I mean, I'm literally in there for some days, like spent the night in there. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Can't move, can't really do nothing. So finally, she was like my family came, everybody was like, we'll pay you to let him out and all that. It was like, it doesn't work like that. He has to guess the number to get out or whatever. So eventually I end up, staying in there. So then one of my uncles was like, well, we'll pay such and such amount of money or this, that, and the other. So they were like, they agreed. But then it turned out my uncle wasn't going to pay him. You know what I'm saying? And they was really going to rob my uncle. You know what I'm saying? So it turned out into a little shootout. Yeah, so finally I got out the place. When I got out, I agreed to I go and one of them go with me. And I go to the ATM, I get the money, I pay them and all that. So we did that, but somehow I got away from him. And then when I got away from him, the girl I was dating, like I said, she stayed like way out. And we ended up at the house one night. She wasn't there, but I was there and her 2 boys were there. So while I was there, I had a nurse, and I'm sick. I'm sick with COVID, all this. I know I'm sick and all that. You know what I'm saying? So while I'm there, it's a nurse that came there to see me. I don't know how the nurse got there, where the nurse come from, or nothing. She just popped up there. At the same time, the Jamaicans found out I was there. So they was like, you need to come out the house and all that. So I'm like, I'm not coming. You know what I'm saying? I'm not coming out of the house. Y'all not going to kidnap me. So then it came out to be like a big shootout. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, it was crazy. And I actually really, really thought this stuff happened. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I'm inside the house. So I called my uncles and called my people. I'm like, I'm in the house. The Jamaicans shooting, at the house. They trying to get me out. They trying to rob me. So my uncles them come from Orlando, my partners come. And so like they having this like big shootout. The Jamaicans in the trees and everything. And like it's a long driveway, you know what I'm saying? So my uncles them come, they shoot out and all that.
Oh my God.
So I mean, like I said, I thought this stuff was real. I thought my daughter came with my other daughter, and like I'm in the house. They come in through the garage, but the Jamaicans got them, and they trying to get me to come out the house. So they telling my daughter to go open the door. My daughter said, no, you're not finna kill my dad. You're not finna kill my dad. So they going back and forth. So the Jamaicans holler out, I'm finna shoot your daughter. So I thought they had shot him. You know what I'm saying? So somehow I'm back in the hospital again. Like I said, the whole thing was crazy. I just kept popping up at this hospital. So then while I'm at the hospital, the Jamaican nurse coming in and all that. So I'm looking at them like these people finna literally come in this hospital and kidnap me. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, with TMH at the Walgreens right here.
Mm-hmm.
Like on the side, it was like they had some kind of like little hospital there. And like I was there. And like the Jamaicans were parked at Walgreens parking lot, and they would come in, and harass the staff and all that. And the staff be like, no, we gonna call the police and this, that, and the other. So while I'm in there, it's like they had like like some nurses and doctors, and I could look at them and tell they weren't nurses or doctors. They were undercover police. I'm serious. This is what I thought actually happened. I thought this stuff was happening. You know what I'm saying? And then for some reason, like my aunt is a nurse. It was like she was in that hospital working, but she was on the 6th floor. And then my uncle used to be an x-ray tech. He retired. But somehow he had got a job there. And it was like I would see him walk past my room, but he would never look in there to say nothing to me. So I said, I was like, why does he keep walking around? He won't even talk to me or acknowledge me.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So at the same time, I couldn't really talk where you could hear me. You know, I'd be like screaming, but it just barely come out.
Well, I definitely want to get to part 2. This just pause right there for me. This just wraps up part 1 with Mr. Mike. I do want to thank you guys for tuning in to Kingdom Connections, again, where I am your host, Tanisha Reese. Tune in. I know you guys are just as interested to hear the second part of this story as I am. So come back next week and we're going to be right here with part 2. Remember to be blessed.
Grace and peace to you. This is Apostle Otis B. Young with Kingdom Life Tabernacle. Thank you for tuning into Kingdom Connection. Listen, the Bible says in Jeremiah 29 that he knows the thoughts and the plans that he has for you, thoughts of good and not of evil, to give you an expected end. Out of that paraphrasing, I want to say that I'm excited about your future right now. Listen, you've tuned into a great broadcast on tonight. Guess what? You have an opportunity now to accept Christ into your heart. If you've never accepted Christ into your heart, all you got to do is accept him, believe, and confess. Would you just say this short prayer with me? If you believe that Jesus Christ is the Son of God and that he died on the cross from your sins, all you've got to simply say is, Lord Jesus, come into my heart. Save me right now. I believe in your Son Jesus and that he died on the cross for my sins. Lord Jesus, come into my heart and save me right now. If you said that short prayer in your heart, spoken out of your mouth, the Bible says that you are saved. Now the next step is to get in an apostolic covering, or what I like to call a Bible-believing ministry. Kingdom Life Tabernacle is here. If it's not Kingdom Life Tabernacle, find a ministry, find an apostle, a pastor that you can connect with and grow with. Listen, thank you again for tuning in. Kingdom Life Tabernacle, also known as KLT, is growing, and we are expanding our service opportunities with you in mind. Join us for worship at 9:45 a.m. or 11 a.m. Our 9:45 a.m. express service is only 60 minutes. Yes, you heard me right, 60 minutes. Come in and give God an hour and enjoy the remainder of your day. This service is power-packed with the word and worship. Our second service on Sunday starts at 11 a.m., where we allow God to have his way with a time of celebratory praise, deliverance, and prophetic ministry. Both services are spirit-filled. Listen, and you will never be disappointed at the Kingdom. Lastly, you can join us for Bible study, Walking in the Word, on Thursdays at 6:30. We are conveniently located at 1140 Capitol Circle Southeast, right across from Ultimate Image next to Pop's Attic. There is no dress code and everyone is welcome. Join us on Sundays at 9:45 or 11 a.m. or Thursdays at 6:30 for a time in the Word. Also join us virtually on Facebook. This is Apostle Otis B. Young, and I'm excited about your future right now. Call 692-3205 for more information.